Hi, I'm Shannon. What originally brought me to Mid-Central Community Action for help was word of mouth. At one point, I was having difficulty paying my electric bill, and someone had told me about this local organization that could help a family in need with situations like this. Then, later on down the road, my kids' great aunt had read an article in the Panagraph about a program that this particular organization was starting called the IDA program. She told me that I should apply because she thought that I fit the ideal candidate profile that they were looking for. She also told me what was involved in the program as far as learning financial and budgeting tips, committing to saving money for an extended period of time, and becoming informed about home ownership. All these things would eventually lead me being able to put a down payment on a home so that I could get out of expensive apartment living and into something that I could call my own. It turns out that I was an ideal candidate, and I was just one of the few families that got accepted into the program. I started saving $10 a week for a 2-year time period. I attended the required workshops, all with the goal in mind that one day I could start looking for a home to purchase. During this time, I had also applied for home ownership with our local Habitat for Humanity chapter. I had been denied before due to a high debt-to-income ratio, but I made sure that the next time I received my tax refund that I paid off as much as I could, and then I applied again. And I made it through the pre-screening process and into the actual family selection application process. After 6 months of them deliberating on the families, I found out that I was selected to become one of their homeowners. So, in the summer of 2009, I began the Habitat process of getting my required sweat equity hours in so that I could break ground on my own home in summer of 2010. I'm proud to say that on October 28, 2010, I met at a law office with lawyers and a director at Habitat and a representative from Community Action and signed the stack of papers that declared me an official homeowner. So, ultimately, I was able to give Habitat a $2,000 down payment on my home when they only required about $500. So that was one of the best days of my life, and I will never ever forget it. What I do think is important to mention is that I don't feel that I can take the credit for any of this. I do strongly believe that the Lord orchestrates the circumstances in our lives, and when we pray for ourselves in our own lives, we don't always get the answers we want when we think we should or how we think we should. I do believe God's timing was perfect, and I know this because of the way everything worked out in the end. I was able to learn about myself and the compassion of the people in this community through the process of preparing for home ownership with Mid-Central Community Action and by building my home with Habitat for Humanity. In Luke 12:48 is stated, "From everyone whom much has been given, who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked." And therefore, since I know that it has been God who has blessed me with a new life and new hope because of my faithfulness in Him to provide for me exactly what He knows I need, it is my duty to share my story with others, but not so that I get the credit for where I have come from, but so that He gets the glory for where He has brought me to. One word to sum up my experience is humbled, because knowing how big our God is and knowing how small I am, but yet He still finds me special enough to fulfill my earthly needs. And it's never too much and it's never too little. In true God fashion, it's always just enough. So I just want to thank you all for giving me the chance to share my story with you tonight by honoring me.